Hey everyone, it's been quite a long time since I made a sit down video like this. I've just been really busy and there's a lot going on. So I just really haven't had time to, just sit down and just chat with you guys, but I'll try to do these more often now. However, before we move on into this video, I would like to clarify a few things. As you can probably already tell, I do not have a fully fledged, fully blown American accent. However, I also do not have your typical distinct Indian accent either. So, that means my accent is somewhere in the middle, I guess. Okay. However, it doesn't really matter how American or how Indian my accent might sound, because the reason why I speak like this has a lot more to do than just linguistic abilities. So, in today's video, I'm just going to take a look at my childhood, mainly my teenage years, and why and how I choose to speak like this. Because, yes, I can speak in a very normal, like Indian accent, but especially on this channel, I choose to speak in a very distinct way, which I will discuss why. The accent that you're hearing right now coming out of my mouth, I'm not faking it. You might, some of you might think that I'm faking it, but I'm honestly not. I have no reason to fake an accent, except I do, but we'll get into that later. When I was exposed to the internet at the ripe age of 10, yeah, in 2012. So I grew up watching a lot of American media. Pretty much my entire teenage life, I was chronically online. I was always consuming American media. I was a huge consumer of core American pop culture. Okay, I gradually picked up the accent. I watched, in fact, on YouTube, I was chronically online on YouTube. I watched a lot of American YouTubers, and gradually I started picking up the accent. I was already good in English. English was one of my the subjects that I was always really good at, and due to all of this American media exposure, I started picking up the accent as well. And I kind of some at some point in my life, I kind of got made fun of for speaking like this, but whatever, I really liked it. Part of me, like part of my conscience, the voice in my head that tells me right from wrong, part of me was picking up this accent naturally and subconsciously, but the other part of me was actively pursuing this accent on purpose. In my schools, actually, when I was in school, we would follow strictly British pronunciations in English. For example, we could never say often, like how they say in America. We always had to say often. And likewise, there were other words, like we could never say genre. It had to be like yonner or something like that. I don't know how it is pronounced exactly in British English, but UK English was the norm back in the day. I don't know what the scene is like these days, but back when I was in school, we were heavily pressured into adopting UK pronunciations only, and American pronunciations would simply be considered wrong, even though one of the most powerful countries in the world pronounces a word in a certain way, and some teacher in a school in India is telling me that it is wrong. Anyway, so just to piss those teachers off, sometimes I would, throw in some of my American pronunciations just to, get a reaction out of them. And, oh boy, it used to be fun. All right, so that was a little bit about my childhood and how I learned and how I picked up this kind of Americanized accent. Now let's talk specifically about YouTube and why I chose to speak in this accent whenever I'm shooting a video for YouTube, and why I actively choose to speak like this on YouTube, even though I could just speak in Hindi or I could just speak in a very distinct Indian accent, which a lot of other Indian creators do. There are a few reasons, and it's not just to flex my linguistic abilities, but it's actually a lot deeper than that. A few years ago, actually, my channel was growing a little bit. I was rigorously making those K-pop dance covers, and they were getting a little bit viral, and not just naturally, but my channel was actually getting circulated a lot. amongst circles whom I know in real life, amongst people whom I know in real life. But these people were never my target audience in the first place, and they really have no business watching my videos. My videos, my content is not meant for them. They're not my target audience, like I said. But somehow these people, they still watch my videos, and I just don't want them to be watching my videos. Like, it's not meant for them. They're not my audience anyway. So in an attempt to deter these people off of my channel, I started looking for ways on how I can make my videos in a way that it's not entertaining these people, and just to, shoo them away from my channel. Shoo them off of my channel, okay? So if you are an OG subscriber of mine, you would remember that last year I actually made a few vlogs, and I have made those videos private now. I made few vlogs last year, and in those vlogs I was not speaking in Hindi, I was not speaking in English, I was speaking in Korean, okay? A completely different language, which I'm obviously not fluent at, but I have spent some time learning that language, and I could do some like conversational stuff. So I made those videos in Korean, and I was hoping that it would deter those unwanted visitors off of my channel, because they wouldn't be as entertained, and they would just not watch my stuff, and they would not be able to comprehend, even though I do put English subtitles for my actual target audience. My channel is my holy place. My channel is my the legacy that I will pass down to my future generations, and it's a very sacred place for me, safe space for me, and I would really not want any kind of viewers to ruin the sanctity of my channel and my mental health, for that matter. That was a little bit controversial, but anyway. I think the main reason why I speak like this is because I can. The most fundamental, the most basic reason is that I just can. I spend some time, I spend some effort in trying to learn to speak like this, and just because I can, because free will exists. This is my way of enjoying my free will on earth, and I really like the way it slips off of my tongue. I feel like American accent is actually a lot more easier to pick up if you're not a native American English speaker. Even if you're from some other nationality, American accent is actually a lot easier to learn and to imitate as compared to British or Australian accents. British accent actually sounds very posh. I would love to learn British accent someday. In fact, I'll share a fun fact with you. If you know about this cartoon called Peppa Pig, I am dressed a little bit Peppa Pig themed. There's this pink family of pink pigs who speak in a very posh, very distinct British accent. And there has been a study by researchers in America. I will put it up somewhere in the video, that toddlers, because it's a show meant for like really little kids, like toddlers basically, and children are actually picking up British accent by watching Peppa Pig. Like, children in America who are native American English speakers, they are saying mummy and daddy in very distinct British accents. So yeah, it's a real thing. You can actually alter the way you speak and your accent specifically by exposing yourself to a certain kind of media and pop culture. And you could just, and if not for any reason, you could just do it for funsies. You can learn any language, any accent. I am a huge fan of multilingualism. Am I saying it correct? So yeah, that was my 2 cents on why I speak in an American accent. And I don't have a perfect American accent, but maybe one day I will really pick it up really well, and I would actually sound like a native American. But for now, this will do. All right, see you later. Bye bye.